Hello. I have three things: an appreciation for you and Esther and everybody that runs this, and then a question, and then a fun question.
Can you hear? Get right
Okay.
in. Get right in there.
A question and then a fun question after that.
Hang on. It's going to be all right eventually. You like those teeth? Yeah.
Yeah. Nice metal teeth now. So my deep appreciation for you, Abraham, and Esther, and the whole team that puts all these things on.
Because we talk, you listen, and you find resonance with who you are. And that's what that appreciation is. It's a sometimes momentary returning to the vibrational essence of yourself. It's delicious, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
So my question is, or my discussion that I would like to have, is the value of not telling it like it is, but acknowledging how it is so that you can then move forward. And acknowledging where you are, essentially.
There you go. There you go. The benefit of that is that satisfaction comes from only one place. Remember, you are creators and you're expanding beings and you are eternal. And so when your life causes you to identify something more that you want and you move in opposition to it, it feels unsatisfying. But when life helps you to identify something that you want and you move with your thoughts and words and actions in the direction of, it is satisfying. And so if you don't know where you are, if there isn't some awareness of where you are, then that satisfaction is not as keenly known. But it's a dance that you want to dance delicately, because too much attention from most people is about where they are. If you could have your eye on where you're going, Jerry always said, put your basket out far enough that it's exciting when you hit it, but not so far that you don't think you can. And we've been saying, satisfied with what is and eager for more. That's a really nice balance. Yeah.
Right. At the same time, I've heard your analogy about, the looking through the hole in the bottom of the car to see where you're driving versus looking through your windshield.
You're
right?
glad it's out there, not there.
Right. But at the same time, you still have to get into your car so you can start driving. So, right, for the acknowledging where you are so you can start driving going forward.
So what you're really talking about is the path of least resistance. Correct. In other words, when you're getting in your car, the path of least resistance is not looking out the front windshield. The path of least resistance is getting in your car, getting yourself comfortable in your car, maybe even doing a little segment intending. So what we're really talking about is focusing. A lot of conversation about the power of now, focusing in the now where all of your power is. Now is the junction where the non-physical you meets the physical you. And your inner being is aware of everything that you are about. And your inner being is giving undivided attention to where you are in relationship to everything that you want. So focus on what's next, what's next, what's next, what's next. Esther used to say to Jerry, she did most of the driving as they drove their monster bus all over the nation. And she'd say, now, remind me again, what interstate are we going to be on? He was so full of information that was meaningful. He said to her one day, all of the even-numbered highways, all the even-numbered ones go from east to west. Highway 10, Highway 20, Highway 30, Highway 40, Highway 50, Highway 60, Highway 80, Highway 90. And all of the uneven ones, Interstate 5, 15, 25, 35, 45, they all go north-south. Esther said, how can I be this old and not know that? It was exhilarating for her to now understand that when someone talks about a highway, she could place it somewhere on this big map of this big nation. So he was the navigator, because they were doing this long before the navigational systems were as efficient as they are. And she would say, now tell me again, what's our route? And for a long time he would tell her. And then one day she said, now remind me again. I know we're going to go about 600 miles, and remind me again, what's our route? And he said, how about if I just tell it to you right before it's time to make the turn? Because I really don't think you're going to hold this all in your mind right now, and I really don't think that it is that beneficial that you do. And wasn't he right? In other words, why was she trying to hold that map in her head when she had a map giver right here, sitting right next to her, who could say he could be asleep on the sofa in the monster bus and wake up 2 minutes before the next? It was uncanny how his inner mind knew where he was in relationship with where they wanted to be. And you're all that way too. So you don't have to figure it all out. Oh, here it is. You know what the plan is? The plan is to experience as much pleasure in this moment as is humanly possible. And then in this one, 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 and then in this one. And if you get too far away from where you are, then you introduce confusion. Esther was in the beauty shop the other day. There were 4 women there, 2 technicians and 2 clients. And they talked about so many things she couldn't believe she had been there only an hour and a half. It was like they changed the world, just the 4 of them. None of them really know what Esther does, and it's just as well, because everyone needs a break from this, right? But they were talking about kids, and they were talking about dogs, and they were talking about schools, and they were talking about families, and they were talking about Christmas, and they were talking about traffic, and they were talking about weather. They talked about everything. And one of them says, my husband calls this the paralysis of analysis. And Esther's not heard that expression before. Apparently, it's not uncommon, but Esther had never heard it. Paralysis of analysis. And that's what happens when you try too hard to figure too much out that isn't pertinent to your now. In other words, because the law of attraction is responding to right where you are. The law of attraction is not giving you the turn that you're going to make 450 miles from now. That's not what the law of attraction is giving you, the impulse to turn left 450 miles before you're at that corner. Your inner being is not giving that to you. So if you want to get in sync with your inner being, no, your inner being knows where you're headed and what you want, all of it. Your inner being knows how all of that intersects with all of that. Your inner being knows all of the surprises and delights that are in store for you and how you can get the most benefit moment by all of that. But do you think it would be helpful if your inner being told you all of that today? But knowing that it's there and knowing that what you want and need will be there when you want and need it, if you're loose and open and expectant and feeling good, then you don't have to plan your whole life. You know why? You've already put enough in your vibrational reality. We call that the vortex. We wrote a book about it so you'd know it's real. This vibrational reality, you have enough in that to keep you busy, happily busy, for 20 or 30 or 40 lifetimes. The combinations of what you've set into motion, you've done the work, you've lived the life, you've asked for what you want, and of course you're amending it as you move along, but your inner being is on it. Your work now is to be happy now, and we promise you, let's stop for just a little bit, because you're right on the brink of really getting what we mean. So let's talk about the water coming to a boil in vibrational terms, in broader terms of attraction. So vibration is happening. Now, vibration is a clumsy word in that it means a lot of things. And vibrations, as you know, think about the different frequencies that are vibrations and energies that are vibrations. Just think about the signals that are moving through this room and through your bodies. In other words, the understanding of the way energy flows. So Esther finds the word vibration that means all of that, and we mean it in the fullest sense of the word. So there are vibrations, and let's call that your earliest point of manifestation. That's when you turn the fire on, is when there's a vibration going on. And most of the vibration, just like the cell phone signals and all of the other signals that are going through this building, through this room, around this earth, through your bodies, you're unaware of. You're also unaware of all the vibrational frequencies that have been going on, that have been trending in humanity and long before there was humanity. In other words, don't try to comprehend it, just acknowledge that it is. Let's call it vibration. Big old clumsy word, vibration. But let's call it first manifestation. First awareness of manifestation. So there's a vibration that the law of attraction is responding to in minute and specific ways that so far are pretty much indescribable and indefinable or even understandable. It's the basis of all that is.